Hello, guys. How are you today? I hope you're having a great day. And I'm really glad to be back with you for one more class at SEDA College Online. So, today we have an interesting topic, which is something that exists all around our society. Maybe we have personally experienced it or not. And if we haven't experienced it, we're lucky. If we have, it might have been a kind of traumatic experience as well. Some of us, however, do not just experience it, they actually commit it. And what I'm talking about is my first question: how safe do you feel today? Do you feel that something bad is going to happen to you? Do you feel that someone is going to commit something against you? And the reason I'm asking that question is because our topic today is crime and punishment. And I know that many things come to your mind as you're thinking about crime and punishment. But I only have a question for you. So go to the comments or the live chat and tell me, why do you think that people commit crimes? So give me a few reasons. Okay, you can write nouns if you want, because of this, because of that. So, what is in your mind that top reason or the most common reason that people commit crimes? Think about it and write your answers. Of course, there are many different reasons and many more than we can think. But in a few seconds, I will show you five very basic reasons why people commit crimes, which I think you have written in your answers as well. And these are from an article. You will see the link at the bottom of the slide. So if you want to read the whole article, you can do it. So let's see and compare if these match your answers. Our first reason is poverty, of course, okay? Remember, poverty is the noun of the adjective poor. And let's read together. In a country where economic deprivation is rampant, it is common for people to engage in criminal acts. Now let's focus a little bit on that first part. Economic deprivation means that we don't have money. Okay? I deprive you of something means that I take something away from you. And rampant here means that is very fast growing. So the hunger and poor economic conditions are what leads many people to invest themselves in criminal cases. Furthermore, when people are unable to earn for the longest time, they often start getting frustrated. So, hunger and poor economic conditions, two basic factors. The truth be told, by the latest research, the digital medium and television play a very important role in telling people about how several criminal acts can be brought to life. And it's true, if you take a look at an average detective TV show, they can show you all the details of how to commit a good crime. So we talked about poverty. Now let's go to our number two. And when we finish our five reasons, tell me which one you think is the most important for you personally in your mind. Number two is peer pressure. I'm sure some of you have seen this term before. It's pressure that you feel because of the people who surround you. If you are a school student, maybe you feel peer pressure by your classmates and your friends. So let's talk about that. This is a new form of concern in the modern world. Many young people commit crimes because they see a lot of their peers engaging in such acts. It is common for high school students and college going students to engage in drugs, weed, marijuana, and a lot more. Young age is very critical since one isn't filled with wisdom and experience, which is why a lot of people make the mistake of becoming criminals for no reason at all. So you see that peer pressure can be a very important influence in our lives. And I have underlined two phrases here. The first one is to commit a crime. I just want to focus your attention on the fact that we use the verb commit here, okay? I commit a crime. And if you don't remember what wisdom means, is the noun of the adjective wise. It means to have knowledge and be able to take very, very good decisions because of that. So this was about peer pressure. So far we have poverty, peer pressure. Think about which one you think is the most important factor. And let's go to number 3, which of course is drugs. Drugs have always been highly criticized by critics. A person who is addicted to drug will, at one point in time, do something he or she isn't supposed to do. Drug addicts are often unable to get rid of addiction, as a result of which their life starts getting filled with bad habits. Drug addiction is another rampantly growing disease which has slowly encapsulated many parts of the world. So, I know that you are very well aware of that. It's everywhere. And it's true that it's an addiction that you can't get rid of. You can't push it away. And here again, you see two words I've underlined rampantly, which is the adverb of the word rampant we saw before, which means very fast growing, and encapsulated. Okay, this means that it has made part of its group many parts of the world. All right, let's go to number 4. We have poverty, we have drugs, we have peer pressure, and family conditions, which is kind of related to poverty in a sense as well. Family is also a weak point of any person who is about to commit a crime. If you're not being able to provide for the entire family as a poor person, at one point in time you will think of walking the negative path to get what your family needs. In most cases, when people are asked, they claim they need to provide for the family, because of which they end up getting stuck behind bars. So you see that trying to provide for the family, they actually achieve the opposite as they go to jail and they can no longer provide for this family. And our last one, number 5, is unemployment. So just to remind you, we have peer pressure, we have drugs, we have unemployment, we have family conditions and poverty. Go to the comments now and tell me which one you think is the most important factor of committing crimes. And let's read about unemployment. This skyrocketing factor in many countries is often the main reason why so many people commit crimes. It is quite frustrating after one fails to get a job post studying for years in high school and university. Unfortunately, people spend a lot of money on their education, but seldom come across a good job immediately post the completion of their studies. Most youngsters destroy their careers when they engage in criminal activities very early on in their lives. And here I have underlined the word skyrocketing. If you try to analyze the word, we have sky, we have rocket. It means that it's moving upwards, so increasing really, really fast. So, tell me first if you have as well any questions in relation to the vocabulary. Is there something that you saw in the previous text, something that you kept in your mind that you want to ask me? Go in the comments and the live chat and do it now. All right? And I'm still waiting for you to tell me which of these reasons you think is the most important. All right, so let's continue. And we will focus, of course, on the same topic of crime, but this time we have something different. We'll focus on vocabulary. And here you can see 10 types of crime. First, I want you to guess. See if you know the word, if you can remember the word that describes the crime. For example, F, he took a gun and shot a person. What is that? What crime is that? You can use either a verb or a noun. Okay, preferably a verb, but if you use a noun, it's fine as well. Or he brought illegal drugs into the country. B. What is that? I will read them for you one time, and please go to the comments right away and tell me if you can guess the crime. They grabbed my bag while I was walking. Now, that's not just stealing, there is a specific name for um, taking things from someone while they are walking on the street. B. He brought illegal drugs into the country. So it is a secretive action. C. He threatened to tell my secret if I didn't pay the money. How do we call that? A politician received money to support a bill. So I paid the politician to do me a favor. He followed her everywhere and wouldn't leave her alone. F, he took a gun and shot a person. G, he was stealing the company's money. H, somebody took control of the bus and made demands to the police. So imagine someone being in the bus, they pull out a gun, they take control of the bus, and then they ask the police to give them specific things if they want to let the people go. They broke into my house and took everything. And J, they took his daughter and asked for money. And here in the gaps, in the brackets, you can also see the word ransom. That's how we call the amount of money asked if you're taken by criminals. So they take you, they call your family, and they ask for ransom. So I'll just give you a few more seconds, see if you can guess, and then I will show you the answers, but not in the correct order. I will just give you the names of the crimes, and then you have to match them with the correct example. Let's make it a little bit more challenging for you. All right. So here are my 10 crimes. You see that all of them are verbs except for number 5 and number 9, which are nouns. So we have bribe, not bribe, bribe. Sorry, that's a typo. So it's B-R-I-B-E. Okay, bribe. Sorry about that. Hijack, mug, kidnap, fraud, smuggle, burgle, blackmail, murder, stalk. So I'll just give you a minute to try and match the correct crime with the correct situation. For example, 1E, 1F, whatever you think, okay? And then we'll talk about it. Go to the comments really, really fast and write your answers as well, okay? If you want to do it faster, you don't have to wait until you complete everything. You can just write your ideas. Like, I think 1 is G, send it to me. Then let's go to number 2, etc. And while you're working, I will pronounce the words one more time because I know it can be a little bit hard, especially with a few of the words. So the first one is bribe, okay, with B, bribe. The second one is hijack, so you have an I, hijack. Mug, your sound here is an A, mug. Kidnap, fraud, smuggle, burgle, blackmail, murder, and stalk. So you see in number 10 you have a silent letter. As we said in the previous lessons, you have a silent L. So you don't pronounce the L, stalk. All right. So let's see the answers now and we'll explain everything. So bribe means to give money to someone to do you a favor. The most common example is bribing politicians. Okay. Number 2, hijack is H. You take control of a vehicle usually. It can be a bus, a plane, a train, anything. Okay. And then you make demands. Number 3, mug. They steal something from you while you're walking. They grabbed my bag while I was walking. They mugged me. Kidnap is J. They took his daughter and asked for money. Okay. Number 5, we have fraud. He was stealing the company's money. Imagine someone slowly taking money from the company's accounts and transferring them to their personal account. That's fraud. Number 6 is smuggle. Smuggle is B. He brought illegal drugs into the country. So when you smuggle illegal items, you try to put them in secret into the country without declaring them, of course. Then we go to number 7, burgle. It's I. They broke into my house and took everything. When you burgle a house, you walk inside the house, you break into the house, and you take everything. And usually you try to do this as quietly as possible so that no one will be aware that you are there. In number 8, we have blackmail. Okay, see, if you do that, I'll do this. Okay, I'll tell your secret if you don't give me money. That's blackmail. Murder, of course, killing someone. He took a gun and shot a person. And stalk. He followed her everywhere and wouldn't leave her alone. So you're following a person everywhere obsessively. That's stalking. All right, so these are our crimes, and I want you to go in the comments, tell me if there is something that is not very clear. But we will work a little bit more on these words. So if you're not sure yet, don't worry, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is focus a little bit on word formation, and we'll focus on verbs and nouns. So as I told you here, most of the words apart from fraud and murder are verbs. What I want you to try and do is find the noun. Because number 5 and number 9 are nouns, I have already given you the verb. Okay, so you don't have to work on them. For fraud, we use the verb I commit fraud, and for murder, I commit murder. But all the other verbs have a different noun. I want you to think about it, go to the comments and write number 1, what is the noun? Number 2, etc. Okay? Think about it. Sometimes it might be hard. Some of them maybe nouns that you have never heard, but I can guarantee that most of them are really, really easy to find. You don't really have to change a lot of things. They mostly have a standard ending. If I remember well, most of them, apart from 2 or 3, have the same ending, so this could help you as well. And I just want you to pay attention to the verbs as well, because sometimes in these cases we use mostly the verb and not the noun. In other cases we use mostly the noun and not the verb, but still it's good for you to know both. I'm still waiting for your answers, so you can keep writing. And if you still have questions, you can ask me. If you have pronunciation questions, you can ask me too, although we will work on pronunciation as well in a little bit, okay? But I know that sometimes it can be hard, so just to give you a few more seconds as well, I will pronounce the words one more. Bribe, hijack, mug, kidnap, fraud, smuggle, burgle, blackmail, murder, stalk. Okay, so let's see the nouns and see if you found them. The first one and number 7 have the same ending, so it's bribe, bribery. Okay, again, sorry, I have a typo here. It's B, okay, B-R-I-B-E-R-Y, bribery. And for burgle, it's burglary. So you can see they're very similar. Then all the rest, hijack, mug, kidnap, smuggle, and stalk, just add the ing. So it's hijacking, mugging, kidnapping, smuggling, and stalking. And we have one that stays the same. It does not change, which is blackmail. It can be used as a verb and as a noun by using the exact same word. So tell me if you have any questions. And I have just a few more words for you to continue before we go to pronunciation. Because we have talked about crimes, but we haven't talked about punishment yet. Okay, these two go together. So, I have first 3 pictures that I want you to tell me the word for. How do we call the person who makes a decision if you're innocent or guilty? How do we call the place where this happens? And how do we call the people, the citizens who are inside the process and they can make a decision? If you know the words, go to the comments and tell me 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1 and 3 are the people. Number 2 is the place. I'm sure that if you watch many films like detective or police films, etc., you must know these words. The pronunciation can be a little bit tricky sometimes, but let's see them together. So the first one is the judge, which might seem complex as pronunciation, but it really has three sounds: the sound j, the sound a, and then one more time the sound j, j, a, j, judge. Then we have, of course, the court, court. Okay, and the last one, the people, the civilians who are there and can make a decision are the jury. Okay, judge, court, jury. I don't know if you have seen films, but if you have seen something like that, I'm sure you have seen many cases of people who are in court and the judge and the jury decide what will happen to them. And let's see a little bit more. I have a few more words here related to the court, the process in the court, and the punishment. And I want you to complete them in the text. The words are guilty, acquit, commit, evidence, sentence, accuse, trial, and verdict. There might be a few words that you're not sure about, but I want you to try on your own first before I tell you anything, and then we will see the answers together. Okay? If you don't know something, leave it for the end. I will read the text with you once, very, very fast to help you, and you can start thinking about the words. It might be necessary for some of the words to be slightly changed, so keep that in mind. So, Josh, just 18 years old, but he had a crime. He was of stealing money from the cash register in the convenience store he was working. Unfortunately, there was, as the cameras had shown him taking the money. He had regretted doing that, but here he was, standing. He was really anxious as he was waiting for the. He was afraid they would find him and sentence him to months or years in prison. When he heard the verdict, he felt relieved. He wasn't, but he was to a few months of community service, which wasn't that bad. He promised himself he wouldn't do anything like that ever again. So focus on the meaning here. Try to match the words with the meaning of each sentence and of the text as a whole. I'll give you some more time. Okay? And I will pronounce the words one more time for you. Okay, the first one is guilty, acquit. Remember, quit? It's the same, you just add two more sounds. Acquit, commit, evidence, sentence, accuse. Okay, and I just want to remember it's not coup, it's Q. All right, accuse. Trial and verdict. So, you can still write your answers in the comments and the live chat. I'll be waiting for you. And let's start slowly together seeing the answers. Okay. Joss was just 18 years old, but he had a crime. We said that we use a specific verb here. Okay, we don't say I do a crime or I make a crime. We say I commit a crime. So committed a crime. You can use the past simple. And I will show you the answers in a little bit, so don't worry. He was of stealing money from the cash register. So here there is a preposition that can help you as well, the preposition of. He was, that they said that he had done that. It is accused. He was accused of stealing money from the cash register in the convenience store he was working. Unfortunately, there was, as cameras had shown him taking the money. So we have cameras. What is that? That's evidence. He had regretted doing that, but here he was standing. And I'm not sure if you know that that's an expression actually. When you are in the court of law, in front of the judge, and you're waiting to be told if you're guilty and innocent, you're going through the process, we can say that you stand trial. You can see the answers here as well, but I will go back in a minute, okay? He was really anxious as he was waiting for the. Here we want to say he was waiting for the decision. The decision in the court is the verdict. He was afraid they would find him and sentence him to months or years in prison. If you go to prison, you are guilty. So you can say they find him guilty. They found him guilty. When he heard the verdict, he felt relieved. He wasn't free, completely free, but he would just do a few months of community service. So in that case, we will use he wasn't acquitted. Acquit means that all charges are dropped. You are not guilty or on any charge, okay? But here he wasn't acquitted. He was found guilty, but he was sentenced to a few months of community service. So it wasn't prison, it wasn't that bad. And you can see the answers here to see the past simples, the spelling. Okay, committed, accused, evidence, trial, verdict, guilty, sentenced, acquitted and sentenced. Pay attention to the double T's in committed and acquitted. And tell me if you have any questions about the vocabulary, because we're going to move on to pronunciation after that. So now is your chance, okay? All right, so let's move on. Today we'll focus on the letter U and how we can pronounce it. You can see that many of the words that we saw today contain the letter U. You can see it in bold in all our words on the left. But we have different sounds. We can have the sound A in the first category. We can have the sound E, okay, like bird in the second one. We can have the sound O, like a horse. Okay, we can have the sound Q, or the sound, now this is a weird sound, this is the sound U. This means that it's not an U, it's not an E, it's something between an U and an E. It's U. For example, the word tourist has this sound. It's not tourist, it's not terrorist, it's tourist. Something in between. Okay? So A, E, O, U, and U. I will pronounce the words once to help you put them in the correct category. And you can go in the comments and write number 1. Which words have A? Okay, number 2, which words have a? Just to help you, the majority of the words are in the first category, okay? So listen to me while I'm pronouncing. Court, murder, murder, mug, jury, punishment, accuse, drugs, court, fraud, smuggle, burglary, judge. I will pronounce them one more time. You can continue writing the answers, okay? Court, murder, mug, jury, punishment, accuse, drugs, court, fraud, smuggle, burglary, and judge. All right. And again, just to let you know, there are categories where you might have only one word. Okay, so necessary to have the same number of words everywhere. So let's see the answers together. For a, we have dra, drugs, ja, judge, ma, mug, pa in punishment, and sma in smuggle. Okay, so if you focus on the specific sound, it's dra, ja, ma, pa, sma. All right. Then we have bear. Okay, remember the example bird. It's the same burr, burglary, and mer. Burr, mer. Burglary, murder. Then you have the court, fraud. O. Then you have the hue, because as I told you, we don't say a coup. It's not coup. It's a q. Okay, accuse. And the last one, it's not ju, it's not je, it's je. Something in between. I know that this might be the hardest, but it doesn't really make a difference when you pronounce it. Okay, so it's during. All right. So please tell me if you have any questions, because this is the end of our class for today. And I know that pronunciation, as you told me in the last class as well, can be hard sometimes, but the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So the more aware you are of the sounds, the easier it will become. So let's recap. Today we read reasons for crime, we saw vocabulary on crime and punishment, and we focused on the pronunciation of the letter U and the different sounds that it can represent. And I want you to tell me, what did you learn today? What was the thing that you kept in mind and that you found really, really interesting from today's class? And I will be here waiting for you to join me in our next class. Thank you very much and have a great rest of the day. Bye, guys.